I never wanted to be an actor. I think probably because my dad never seemed to enjoy it, although I know he did. I know that he loved acting, but he never seemed to bring joy home with him. I didn't grow up seeing myself as an actor. I didn't see myself as being pretty enough or talented. I was very, very shy. I really became an actor by default when I was about 20 years old. I had to get a job, and I was a friend of Susan Strasberg, Lee Strasberg's daughter. I said, I've got to get a job because I have to move out of my father's house and get my own apartment. And she said, well, why don't you meet my dad and talk to him about being in his private classes? So I did. I went and I met him. I used to sit in the back of the room next to Marilyn Monroe. And both of us were too scared to ever volunteer to go on the stage and do a scene. But eventually I did. And he told me I was talented. And it was just, I guess I was waiting for someone to tell me that I had talent. And because the minute that those words came out of his mouth, that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Barbarella was a French comic book. I'd been married to a French film director named Roger Vadim for 7 years when Dino De Laurentiis offered me the part. Brigitte Bardot, Vadim's first wife, had turned it down. I think Sophia Loren turned it down. And so I was kind of the fallback choice. I guess it had an effect on how people perceived me. It certainly didn't have much of an effect on me because I promptly left my husband and my life in France and moved back to the United States and became an anti-war activist. The only way that Barbarella affected me was sometimes I would go to a rally and there'd be a banner that said, "Come here, Barbarella, speak." The first movie that really had an impact on my life was They Shoot Horses, Don't They? It was the first time that I made a movie that was a reflection of American society in a way that was relevant to that time. It was 1968, and even though it was about the Depression era, it was based on an existential novel, but it was about something. The night that I won my first Academy Award, I had a 102-degree fever, and I sort of thought I was going to win. I mean, everyone said, you're going to win, you know. I remember when they called my name, and I went up there, and I said, there's a lot I'd like to say, but now isn't the time. And it was like I could hear, oh, thank God. Thank God she didn't make a speech about war and peace and everything. And then I walked off stage and walked into a corner and cried. It didn't seem right to me that I won an Academy Award before my father with his amazing career. And I'm so grateful that he eventually, before he died, won an Oscar on Golden Pond, which is a movie that I produced so that I could act with him before it was over. Katharine Hepburn is a perfect example of what an elder should be. She took her role as elder stateswoman very seriously. She mentored me. I think the one that's most pertinent was when she came up behind me. I was looking in a mirror, combing my hair, getting ready for a scene, and she came up behind me, and she went like this, "What do you want this to say about you?" And I didn't know what she was talking about. And she said, "This is your container. How do you want that to represent you in the world?" And what she was saying is, you need to think more about your presentation. How do you want yourself seen in the world? Because at the time, I didn't give it a fare thee well. Not the way I looked, not my hair, not my makeup, not my clothes. And it made her mad that I didn't. And it took me a very long time to make peace with the need to present myself. It's weird at my age that, you know, people think that I dress well and, you know, that I look good. I mean, I think it's kind of neat that I'm in my 70s before somebody says, oh, she's great on the red carpet and she's a fashion icon. Moi? I hardly think so, but I've learned to fake it. Fooled them again.